We've been budgeting since February 2017, and as we've seen our net worth move into the seven-figure territory over the last year, I wanted to take this opportunity to share with you how my wife and I have been able to successfully manage our money so that you can too, because I see a lot of videos about the paycheck routine that you should follow, but I think they miss some details as far as percentages and the numbers and what exactly is needed to make sure that you're successful with those routines. And so part of having a successful paycheck routine is that you're going to have to learn how to budget. So I'm going to tell you straight up that a paycheck routine is not going to work if you do not have a budget. And I want to give you some percentages of what our numbers look like so that you can compare it with what your numbers look like. And let's talk about the mortgage or maybe your rent, which ideally, if you want to save, pay off debt, that mortgage or that rent is going to need to be in that 15 to 20% range of your take-home pay. You see other personal finance experts and professionals say 25 or 30%. And honestly, I got to admit that that is way too high if you want to be able to save money and become financially independent sooner than later. The more money that's tied into your mortgage or your rent means that you're not going to be able to pay off debt, and you're not going to be able to increase the amount of money that you put into your 401k or your IRA or even just a taxable account, or if you have kids, 529 plans. But overall, our mortgage, utilities, which includes our gas bill, electricity bill, the water bill, even I'll put the cell phone bill in there as well, that and other monthly recurring expenses totals to around 22 to 25% of our take-home pay. Next, let's talk about groceries, dining out, the buffer money that you have for extra expenses, and maybe blow money that you have to spend on whatever you want. Now, for us, this comes to about 20 to 25% of our take-home pay. So overall, we spend almost 50% on mortgage, food, bills, and just daily living expenses. This is with a family of 6. Yes, our children are young, but they can eat and they do cost quite a bit of money. But we do a good job of managing those expenses and making sure that we do what we can, like buying groceries or going to Costco, to try to help some of those expenses that can easily get out of hand. Now, the remaining 50% really doesn't go to much else other than auto insurance fees, our charities that we support, fitness membership fees, and maybe other insurance policies that we may have. But overall, you can see that we're in a position where we can do this because the first 2 years of our marriage, I'll be honest, we didn't do anything with our money except pay off debt. We lived a pretty frugal lifestyle temporarily and enjoyed it a lot. We never felt like we missed out on anything. And now with 4 kids, we travel as much as we can, we save as much as we can, and we support others as much as we can. And a big reason why a lot of this is possible is because those first 2 years of our marriage, we dedicated to getting out of debt. We didn't do a lot. We did sacrifice quite a bit, but now we're in that position where we can do the things that we've wanted to do. And I think when you get rid of those debts and financial obligations that your money is tied up to, you start to open up the door to be able to save money, to budget for traveling, to budget for, any kind of home renovation projects that you may have. But again, the key was budgeting. So right now you've got homework. I want you to go build out your budget for the rest of the year. You know how much your mortgage or your rent is. You know how much you pay for your cell phone bill. You know how much your utilities are, what you generally pay in groceries, the cost of eating out. You know your property taxes are coming due soon if you own, and you should be able to plan the rest of the year. You know what your income is. Unless you own your own business, you will have to use your best judgment. But if you have W-2 income like us, then you should be able to plan the rest of the year with a budget of your choice. You can use the budget that we've been using for the last 7 years if you'd like. Just click into the link in the description and make a copy for yourself. I have a video tutorial for the Google Sheets budget that my wife and I use that you can watch along as you build out your budget. But if you're not interested in using that, there are other ways and apps to budget that you could find better, and that's perfectly fine. Just like anything in life, you got to start. I remember I stopped working out for a while, maybe about 7-8 years, because I messed up my back, kids came, and all these things kind of got in the way. And over the last year, I just had to get started and got back on it. But I want you to start and plan out the rest of the year financially with your budget so that when you get paid in the next months, you already have that accounted for in your budget and you're not guessing how much you can spend, because It's all already in your budget, your mortgage or your rent, how much you pay in other bills, your grocery bill, your dining out budget. I cannot stress this enough. This is the key, y'all. Learn to budget your money, figure out the percentages of the different categories, and then you can take those little steps to make changes like moving into a more affordable living situation, driving a car that doesn't demand 25% of your monthly take-home pay, or buying groceries and making food at home as opposed to spending on one meal what you could have spent on a week's worth of groceries. And I know all this because I was there. This was me, and I wish I had started being more responsible with my finances earlier in life, and I might already have $500,000 or more in my retirement savings accounts. And this is not joking at all, but the best paycheck routine, I'm telling you, is the one where you've already laid out everything ahead of time in your budget so that you're just plugging in numbers. That's all you're doing into the budget sheet or app of your choice. And before you know it, you will be well on your way to financial independence. And one word of advice I would give around budgeting is try not to stress too much if you're not getting it right away. It took us a few months, about 4 or 5 months, to really get the hang of our budget, to understand how much we were paying in our bills, how much we were paying in all the other expenses like groceries and all the other bills and utilities that we had where we were living in our apartment. And things changed. We had to adjust that mortgage, that rent category to accommodate the current situation that we found ourselves in. So you're going to have to make some adjustments as you move along with your budget. And that paycheck that you're getting, well, you pretty much know that's going to stay constant unless, of course, you get a raise. You already know that that is one of the things that really doesn't change month to month or week to week or bi-weekly. That's going to stay pretty much the same. And as you budget, don't be afraid to trim some of that quote unquote fat of your finances that you have to get rid of. For example, I paused my YouTube TV subscription after the Super Bowl. And of course, I'm going to reactivate it here as soon as football season starts, American football, that is. But for the last few months, it's been nice to have a little $80 back for us to be able to use for kids' swimming lessons or other expenses that, we've had, maybe traveling. We just came off a trip from Cancun that we were able to, have some money to spend for that. But you got to be careful with what you spend as far as your budget and be in line and be in tune with your budget month to month. So that way, hey, I don't need this expense anymore. I can get rid of this. And that paycheck that you're earning, that income that's coming into your bank account will start to look and feel a lot more because you are getting rid of some of that excess expenses that you don't necessarily need. Now, when it comes to investing, there are some things I wish I knew before I got started, and the video on the screen will reveal all that and more. Check it out, and I'll see you over there. Peace.